the storylines that didn't happen on shows and how they didn't sort of eventuate. And because that's the thing, like I think the conversation was, like I said, I'm really enjoying how like PWA storylines are really starting to evolve this year, and like it's really really cool to get into. And you were like, that's when you made this the statement about coming on the pod. But what has been some of your like favorite, or one of the ones that you really liked but hasn't been executed or didn't get executed?
I mean, like, I don't know. It's sort of hard to go back into it. I mean, like, you just look at the injuries that happened. Like Ricky was supposed to do something different, but then he hurt his neck. It's just the long term build stuff. Like, I think the biggest waste was what were they calling themselves? The MMA, the Marnell Management Agency.
Yeah.
Because that only started to get white hot, like where the heel ref thing happened and Jessica Troy lost the belt to Sam, and then Sam, Marnell, and John Anderson all quit, like with no notice. It was just kind of like they all just pieced out. Like they got, and they had their reasons. It's all good. It was just like, I think if that had had a chance to breathe for 6 months or a year, it would have been spectacular.
Yeah.
Just all the different elements, because there was like, you stand back and look at it. You had Sam Osborne, who was I refer to it as a white privilege gimmick.
Yeah.
You had Sam Osborne, who was the great athlete. He's intelligent, he's rich, he's got every advantage. And then on top of that, he has a manager who's doing everything in his power to protect the guy who could, Sam Osborne, the guy who could win it all on his own, now has a manager doing everything in the manager's power to fuck everybody else around him. Then he has the heel referee as a backup who's on his payroll, who is then going to make it so it's almost impossible for him to lose a match if he actually gets to lose, in a position where he is somehow going to lose a match. And then all of this horrible stuff is happening. You have the guy, Will Kiedis, in charge of the media, reporting that none of this is happening. So it's a politician. Like, you have the guy who's the lawmaker, who's the referee. You have the businessman who's making the most of it, and then you have the product, and then you have the media, the right wing media. What's his name? The guy. Thank Christ, finally died. Rush Limbaugh, sort of like reporting that all this evil stuff that's happening isn't evil, and that everybody who's saying it is evil is terrible. Such a powerful gimmick. Like, imagine the things you could do. Imagine when you've got the heel ref, like you have a babyface who finally breaks through, and gets close to him, and then Sam just beats him. You have a babyface who breaks through and who nearly beats Sam, but then his manager pulls it. You have a babyface that breaks through, bops off the fucking manager, nearly gets to win, and the referee refuses to count. And then you get the referee who refuses to count, something happens, that ref gets knocked down, and then the babyface ref comes out and does a fucking 1, 2, and then Sam kicks out at 3, like just before 3, so that and still manages to win the actual amount of emotional near falls that gimmick could have created over time would have been unbelievable, and it was built so well and so strongly. And then whoever eventually beat him, like who overcomes Sam, the prize ball premium athlete, as an athlete, overcame the manager, overcame the fucking media shitting on him, overcame the referee, and then of course overcame Sam himself in the end, would have launched this monstrous babyface, like who could have done anything, and it probably would have created a bunch of really good or elevated a bunch of really good faces along the way if people just getting close. Because the good thing about having a big heel champ like that with all those things around them is that somebody can get close, and it's like they can show that they were a better wrestler than Sam and the champion, and show that they're this great wrestler and still not win.
Yeah, because he fucks them in the end. Yeah.
Because you get so much mileage out of that. So you're elevating new people, but you don't have to constantly have a title change. Like, that was, I think, the biggest. That's the biggest disappointment in terms of storylines. That's sort of gone on recently. I think that one was very frustrating.
I'd agree, man, because I feel like Sam Osborne, man, like he was such, like, is such an amazing wrestler, like from performer, like from his heel entrance and everything like that. Like, he never was like insulting to the crowd, but he was just a smug prick to the crowd, and like he just played, like he did his role incredibly well and could go in the ring. I think the match against Jess Troy. I really, really enjoyed that match, and I really thought both Jess and Sam did amazing. That when I heard that he was retiring, I was like, this has got to be a fucking work. Like straight away, I thought it had to be a work.
Yeah. So it's just very disappointing in terms of all that kind of stuff being built up. But I mean, what do you do? Other people, they have their real lives, stuff gets in the way. There were legit reasons for all of it. No one was just an asshole about it. Like it was all like just something happened. They had to leave. Like that's it. Like it's just one of those things that happens sometimes. But it's just incredibly bad timing and just disappointing. I think COVID delayed some things too, like and wasted some time around it. So like there's that kind of thing that's just been happening consistently for the last couple of years. So yeah, hopefully.
I think this year's been a turnaround though. Like I think like PWA has had some pretty good storylines as well on top of that. Like Carter joining SMS, I think was like, I've had Carter on and I said to him, that was like one of the moments that made me fall in love with wrestling as a kid, was like those what the fuck moments that happen where you like don't see shit happening, like get the fuck out of here. Like,
you don't see it coming, but then once you see it coming, it actually makes sense that that's what's happening. That's
100%. Yeah.
Carter joining SMS was really great. Was really well done too. Like, because that's the thing too, is like you look at SMS's gimmick, and everybody in SMS was abandoned by somebody. And so the question begs whether Unsocial Jordan is helping people who have been abandoned, or whether Unsocial Jordan is taking advantage of people who are in a rough spot. And so he can sort of use that to brainwash people a little bit. And there's always that element there, but nobody saw it coming. But yeah, with Carter, they become a much stronger group now. So they're gone really cool. And I mean probably the best storyline of the year was Cherry. With the cherries, all that gimmick, that was really strong. Just sort of, and that one bounced off the MMA thing. That probably wouldn't have happened without the MMA thing disbanding. Like just her being the referee and the decision making. I think it's the first time I've ever seen a 90s rom-com turned into a wrestling angle.
Yeah, right. But I tell you what, when she won.